Recording in progress.
Okay, and it's being recorded. Okay. Nice close-up of your Roxu there. Uh-huh. I am.
Okay. In just another moment, I think the rest of our Zoomers, when they come, popping back on. I hope you enjoyed the good morning here. Welcome back. Can you hear me okay as you're coming back on? Hi. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Shuping. Hi, Carlene. Diane, Robert, Eric. Good morning. Yep, I think we're here. Well, it's with great gratitude that I introduce June Roshi this morning, Ryushin Roshi, for this morning's talk. She is a co-founder of our center, as well as the master hula teacher, Kumu, of the Halau Hula School. She has been practicing Zen since 1993 and is here this morning to speak on the perfection of giving. Thank you, Roshi.
Thank you, Junmei. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all here on this snowy, snowy morning, snowy March morning. Okay, yeah. The generosity of nature, right? It just snows, just snows. I think we might need some snow, actually. So I've been thinking about generosity this past week. And I have also been thinking about how generous our Sangha is already, right? You just can't help but be generous. I think about, well, first of all, that wonderful opportunity to feed the Venezuelan asylum seekers at Grace Episcopal Church. There were 4 teams from our center that cooked meals, showed up, and served, which was great. I remember my first experience there, my first time with our team. I see Diane and Gary are here, and Linda is somewhere. She's not in this room. But for me, that was a strange, actually a strange encounter, because there was no one in our group who could speak English. Oh, I guess I should move this down a little bit here. There was no one in our group who could speak English. I mean, Spanish. Okay, as you can see, I'm not focused here. And so, we also really didn't know what to do. You know, we put the food on there and they were just kind of standing around, and, you know, we said a few words like hola, and that was about it. That my high school Spanish totally left me. And so also at that time, they were ending their 4-month stay at the church, and it was for them their first secure place, right? And they didn't know what was going to happen because the money was running out and everything. And when I left, I was heartbroken, really, because I couldn't really talk to them. Joshin Roshi was saying a few English words to them, and I think they got the gist. He was telling them, you know, I wish you luck. I wish you a lot of good luck now. But I myself was really kind of depressed for them because they didn't know what was happening, even though it was a wonderful experience of feeding people. And so when we got back, Joshin Roshi, we talked with Father John there at the church, and he said, yeah, you know, if you send a letter or an email to the village trustees, you know, it matters. And so when he got back, he got the list and he sent them emails, and he also sent the list out. There was a little blurb in our newsletter, and I know other people sent it too. And it made a difference. And now they, with the help of the Congregation of Churches, I think is what it's called, they found apartments for these young men, and the owners were willing to forego the credit check and the first and last month deposit. And the Congregation of Churches is meeting their rent for a year. So it's giving them some time to get settled, their asylum status, set. And so that was wonderful. And Father John, I saw him again because my hula students went, about 12 of us went and brought food just on the 10th of March. And I saw him and he said, yeah, people from your center, I mentioned you in my homily or whatever they're called at the church this morning because it made a difference. And he told me what happened. So letters count. That was generosity of how you spend your time helping others. And so this time, I wanted to be sure we had a translator that went with us. And so I was asking some of my students. Joy speaks a little bit of Spanish, so she prepared a little presentation because I wanted to share some hula with them, a little entertainment. And one of my other mothers of the little 6-year-old that's learning hula, she's half Hawaiian and half Mexican, or no, half, I don't know, some other things. Anyway, her husband is Mexican and he speaks Spanish beautifully. He's a principal of an elementary school in Berwyn. So he said, I'll come along and I'll interpret for you, because I wanted them to understand what we were dancing, So we got there and there were half as many as when we went about a month ago. So I hope they found housing for them. Anyway, they were watching soccer on the big screen. And I was thinking, okay, I don't know if I want to interrupt their soccer game, right? Because they're really into it. I think Venezuela, a lot of South Americans are really into soccer. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here. But luckily there was one of I forget his name, he was in the kitchen doing things. And so I asked Eden to ask him if they might be interested in some hula. And so he did. And he said, the game is going to be over in 15 minutes. So why don't you do it then? So it was like, okay, we can do a little hula for them. And it was really cool because there must have been about 11 or so of them. They all came and sat on those round tables, where they ate. And they said, yes, we're happy to see your hula. And so we did. We presented hula for them. And what was really cool was at the end, they were all eating together. Because when we were there the first time, they were kind of busy and they kind of one at a time, got their food and went, and they were kind of isolated, eating alone. Well, this time they were all eating together and they were laughing and they were happy. And I was like, oh, okay. Because the hula, for me, is about opening your heart, right? As you're dancing, you're happy, and you're sharing happiness with them. You're sharing a new culture for them. I think one of them said, I want to go to Hawaii. I was like, okay. And that happiness just spreads, right? So that's another thing about generosity, being happy. And that happiness just spreads. It was interesting when I was looking up different people on the net, I always look up Norman Fisher and what does he have to say about generosity. And he had a wonderful little article, and he said, when he was first appointed as abbot of the San Francisco Zen Center many years ago, he's not anymore. They kind of have a rotating abbotship there. Somebody said, what do you think is your most important job as the abbot? And he said, being happy. My happiness is the most important thing. And people were like shocked. Your happiness? What do you mean, your happiness? He said, you know, there's a lot of people who are suffering, and this happiness will spread, actually. If I'm taking care of myself and I'm happy, then this is what is going to make a difference. This is generosity, sharing you can't help. It's not something that you're doing, you just are happy, and that spreads, whether it's mirror neurons, right? It just spreads somehow. So there's this meal chant that they do at the San Francisco Zen Center. May we together with all beings realize the emptiness of the three wheels, giver, receiver, and gift. May we together with all beings realize the emptiness of the three wheels, giver, receiver, and gift. May we, together with all beings, realize the emptiness of the three wheels, giver, receiver, and gift. So Myogetsu, Reverend Myogetsu, has just completed a wonderful 4-part course on the Sandokai, or the identity of relative and absolute. That's what we chant every third Sunday of the month, together with the Heart Sutra and the two Dharanis, the Enmei Juku Kanangyo, which is for generating compassion, and the Shosai Myo Kichijo Dharani, which is a Dharani, kind of almost like a magical incantation against what is the word? Crisis, or against something terrible happening. So she mainly was talking about, right, the identity of absolute and relative. And absolute meaning emptiness, which is not nothingness. It's just this great vastness that includes everything. And how it relates, kind of interpenetrates with the relative, which is our everyday individuality. And that emptiness, when we say that something is empty, this is a great teaching in Buddhism, emptiness. When we say something is empty, we say that it is subject to continual change. This is our lives, right? We are changing every moment. Our cells are regenerating or not. You know, it's happening. And to say that something is empty is to say that its existence is wholly dependent on factors outside of itself. Wholly dependent on factors outside of itself. Isn't that our lives? Could we live without sunlight? Could we live without air? Could we live without water? That its existence, to say something is empty is that its existence is wholly dependent on factors outside of itself. That it has no unchanging core or permanent essence. No unchanging core or permanent essence. What does that mean? Yeah, something to ponder. That the basic Buddhist teachings of impermanence, dependent co-arising, and no self, that's all part of this emptiness teaching. So Joshin Roshi says there is empty of an independent self, basically. So the perfection of giving or generosity incorporates this wisdom of emptiness to transform the perspective from which acts of giving occur. When the impermanence, dependence, and insubstantiality of all things are absorbed into one's worldview, that interpenetration, down to the level of daily life, everything changes. Everything changes. Giver, receiver, and gift are empty. Empty of what? Empty of self. The Buddha says, do not imagine that the world is divided up in separate self-subsistent entities, the way we ordinarily assume it to be. I'll say that again. The Buddha says, do not imagine that the world is divided up in separate self-subsistent entities, the way we ordinarily assume it to be, right? I'm me. I'm this independent self, right? I don't need anybody. Is that true? I don't think so. Right, right. So nothing stands on its own, and that is what it means to be empty of own being, of own being, or of an independent self. I know, Diane was just pounding it in this emptiness, because it's something like so not in our consciousness as independent as in the relative world, because we're so unique and so wonderful. So applied to the act of giving, we see that the gift is not a gift without a donor and a recipient. Likewise, without the gift, there's no donor, no recipient. Each depends on the others, and when one changes, so do the others. Again, let me go back to that beautiful meal chant. May we, together with all beings, realize the emptiness of the three wheels: giver, receiver, and gift. Nothing is self-established. Nothing stands on its own. All of us who fail to understand this will, as donors tend to be more self-centered in giving than concerned about the other. Understanding ourselves and others as isolated entities, each on our own, in the act of giving, we will likely be as much or more self-promoting as truly generous. There's a Tibetan teacher, Traleg Rinpoche, who wrote a book in The Essence of Buddhism. And he includes 2 chapters on the paramita, because Dana paramita is the first of 6 paramitas that are the practices of a bodhisattva. And what is a bodhisattva? A bodhisattva is an enlightened being who is not just enlightened for his or herself, but to help others, right? To serve. That's why they are working on this becoming awake, so they can see reality as it is and help where needed. So Traleg Rinpoche said, if we want to obtain enlightenment by becoming a bodhisattva, it is necessary to actualize wisdom and compassion. Yes, so there's this teaching on emptiness, right, for wisdom. How do we actualize it in our everyday life? That's the point of these paramitas, is how do we live our lives in a skillful way that is truly serving others, and by that, we're serving ourselves. So, and the 6 paramitas help with actualizing wisdom and compassion. And I'm just talking about the first one today, and maybe we'll talk more about this during our session. So, paramita, again, what does this word mean? The Sanskrit word, right? Para means the other shore, which here means going beyond our individual self concern. And then ita means you're already here. You're already here. It looks like it's across the river, but really it's here. Paramita. So we have to go beyond this conventional understanding of ourselves to really practice this paramita of generosity, all the paramitas actually, but in generosity. And they talk about the paramitas as being transcendental, which means how we perceive our lives, whether it's in an egocentric or non-egocentric way. So we're trying to get our understanding to open up to this non-egocentric way. So that takes work. And one good thing which Diane kept talking about is zazen. Just sitting is a great way to kind of let go. It is a way of practicing generosity to yourself. Just sitting, letting go of all of those thoughts that keep you all twisted up. Oh, I know. I was feeling sick today. Anyway, right, so you're just letting go. I'm so looking forward to session. I so need it. Just to let go and to get into this kind of ease. I saw this wonderful other quote by Anne Klein, she's a Tibetan teacher and also a teacher of religious studies at Rice University. She said, ease eases. Ease eases. Kind of like relax, relax. And when you're on the cushion, you can kind of relax because you're letting go of all kinds of stuff. And that grip we have on that egocentric lives, right? We can start to relax, ease eases, so that we can see, there is something more than just me. So I'm going to tell you what the 6 paramitas are: generosity, ethical discipline, patience, enthusiastic effort, meditative concentration, and wisdom. Those are the 6 perfections, they're called, because, it's a perfection, I think, just to practice it, even though you're not getting it right. That's who we are. We're bodhisattvas, and we practice, and, it's out, there's this perfection, but we're getting it. Some of it as we go along, we're getting it. Gary, you don't look convinced, okay? Okay. So with generosity, you let go, opening your heart and give away everything, including yourself. Heart opening. For me, that's what hula practice is. Heart opening and relaxing. But you are focused, you are concentrated on hand motions because you are telling a story. But at some point, you become the story. Right? There's no separation. There's an intimacy. So with generosity, you let go. Open your heart, give away everything, including yourself. Discipline helps you not fixate or get stuck on your generosity. Patience helps you manage your own aggression. Enthusiastic effort is a sense of joy and appreciation of your life and practice. Is that beautiful? Enthusiastic effort is a sense of joy and appreciation of your life and practice. Meditation here is now becoming all of your life. Your whole life is a meditation, not just on the cushion. And then wisdom, emptiness, informs all the other paramitas. It knows where to go and how to get there. So I like how Norman Fisher puts it. Somebody who is awakened would be generous, right? He would be someone upstanding and ethical with enthusiasm and energy for spiritual practice. She would have patience, endurance, and the ability not to get freaked out when there were setbacks, but to go forward in a dignified way. He would be fully present and would probably have a naturally easeful meditation practice. Maybe she would feel like she carries some quiet within herself at all times, and she would probably have a deep wisdom. He would be somebody who seems to appreciate our deep inner connection as human beings and the natural world as well. All right. So Dana Paramita is an important paramita. right? Because you could say that generosity and giving and sharing are the beginning of the Mahayana path. The broadest way of understanding Dana Paramita is the sense of natural abundance of being itself, the generousness of time and space, and the ongoing unfolding of being alive. All right, I think I will stop my talk now and I will open for questions about generosity and giving. Any questions or comments? Gary.
Hi, Gary. I have a microphone for you.
I'm sure that everybody has a question or a comment, so I hope to see a whole lot of hands after me. But I was, first of all, thank you for your talk. They're always inspiring. I was thinking about your opening comments about us going to Grace and feeding the immigrants for one night. And Don and I talked about this a lot, but I was thinking, okay, we're really doing something, and that's good. You know, some of my ego is telling people, yeah, we're going to feed the immigrants. And then when I got there and we did that, and I don't mean to diminish by any means the work that anybody on the team or the other teams did, I started thinking for the next couple of days, yeah, but what about if one of them's sick in the middle of the night? Who takes care of that? They go out during the day, and I've been reading stories about unscrupulous people preying on them to the point of getting them to commit crimes, theft, in exchange for being told that they'll get legal papers to get them citizenship or something like that. Who does their laundry? All of these things. And I realized how complex their situation is. And while it was generous and good of us to do what we did, feeding them for an evening and the others, but it left me feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the totality of their needs. So they need a lot of generosity.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I know that they have a sign-up list for laundry at the church as well, in that sign-up hero or sign-up genius, right? So yeah, and now that they are in housing, you know, will they have enough food? I asked, and he said he would let us know for sure if there's a need for food for them. But yeah, those are all really great questions, right? Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot, but I think what we did was something, you know? And so I think that was, it was really a wonderful effort, actually, because it kind of got us out of ourselves, right? That kind of effort is really important, I think. Yeah, I know when we were dancing, you know, we started with my little 6-year-old girl, hula dancer, student, beginner. And we also gave out, I had little shell lays, you know, that I've had forever, and we gave that to them. It was so cute. You know, some of them put their head forward. At first she was a little shy and just kind of handing it to them, you know. And then I saw a couple just kind of bend their heads so she could throw it over their head, you know. And then when she was dancing, someone, I think it was Linda, told me that there were tears in their eyes, because I'm sure she reminded them of their family that they had left back home. Yeah, so music, you know, really opens the heart as well. Okay, thank you. Any more questions or comments? Because of course we have a hula to share. I have 2 of my hula students here that we are going to dance, but any thoughts about emptiness or generosity? I'll ask Diane to answer the emptiness question.
We'll go to Ken here for just a moment.
Roshi, thank you. It was a beautiful Dharma talk. And I just feel the need to just add how coincidental your Dharma talk on generosity is. during the day of the public launch of our Four Seasons Capital campaign. Roshi, Robert, I got you covered. And just the generosity that we all feel in terms of spirit. Let's try to translate that as well into generosity of our wallet, and so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, this beautiful space, it's 90 years old, and we inherited like over 30-year-old equipment, right? And that's like their lifespan of the AC and of the heater and all of that. And so it's like, yeah, we better, we don't want one of those freezing winters and then and then it would even be more expensive, right? The things. So anyway, so that's what we're raising money for our aging equipment. We have now new, beautiful equipment. And then there's some seepage of water when we have big snow melts or big rain, just, some puddles. It's not flood, but there's just some seepage that I think needs to be taken care of. So would appreciate your help on this very much.
Roshi?
Yes.
Roshi? I just want to thank you for your lovely, lovely, lovely talk. And I loved your points of the paramita of generosity really being about letting go of that fixed sense of self with an attitude of abundance and being able to practice that in a way that is the integration of compassion and wisdom. So thank you. Beautiful talk, Roshi. Beautiful talk.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you.
I wanted to add a thank you so much. It just really got me thinking about the whole idea and just bringing us back to the asylum seekers and that situation and kind of like the joy and the sadness of being there, and then the questions of like generosity. Like my question is, am I really being generous? Am I really, like, where does ego come in and how do I get the ego out? So if you have a quick fix around that, I'd like that. But
Zazen.
But then also the kind of like doing something and not feeling lost in it, like not feeling so overwhelmed that you don't do anything. Like I'm so impressed that people wrote letters. Like I left there and I was like, okay, I want to go there. I want to teach them English. I'm going to, I had all this big checklist, and then I did no letter and you folks wrote letters, and it made a difference. And I feel like I got to kind of calibrate my generosity, emotional, whatever I'm doing. But thanks everybody who wrote letters. That's really made a difference. But yeah, it's like, what are the boundaries on being generous or being witness, or it's probably like another talk or something, but
well,
any
no, that's
thoughts
a
on
very
that?
good question. That is a very good question, because are you going to empty out your bank account, to give to the Zen Center, right? No, you're not going to do that, right? Because there's wisdom also. Wisdom not just about emptiness, but day to day. I need so much for my life, for my living, how I live, right? That's basic. You have to be able to take care of yourself first in order to help others. Right. And so we just do the best we can, yes, we get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed. And it's like, okay, can I embrace this overwhelm and just keep one foot in front of the other going? And it's okay to have this overwhelm, that generosity for embracing where you are at any given time. The generosity for yourself. Yeah.
I have Carlene online. Hi, Carlene.
Thank you. Such a beautiful talk, Roshi. Thank you. And I was just reflecting after, I believe, Gary's initial comment about, after the experience of sort of being able, like noticing more of the suffering or the complexities or the difficulties. And I was thinking how that's actually really great evidence of that heart opening, because the heart opening doesn't only, I guess, mean, that you can open to the joy, but it's that you can also open to things that are difficult and hard, and how that actually helps us to realize that our generosity is needed, that there's sort of that interdependence between all of those things as well. And I really loved just the connection between not just giving as generosity, but also in the receiving and the gift, that all of those things together are really part of what allows us to keep practicing and keep doing it. And last thing I'll say is I was also reminded of a story that I heard once from an Indigenous author about talking to an elder and feeling really overwhelmed with wanting to do things and seeing so much needed to be done. How could he possibly make a difference? And the elder picked up a stone from the shore. They were walking near the water, and she just threw the stone into the water. And she just said, you start with the smallest circles first, because whatever you can do in your sphere, to have some faith that the ripples will move out and they'll touch other things and other people. So I was just, all of those things sort of came up for me before, during, and after your talk. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carlene. I want to comment on both. The one about when your heart opens, right? There's not only joy, but you can feel the suffering, your own suffering as well, right? Bearing witness to that broken heart that you have is such a generous thing to do also, embracing that brokenheartedness. And we learned when we went to Auschwitz that the Poles say a whole heart is a broken heart. And that last story, I heard a story like about all the starfish. They went to, right? They were on a shore, and there were all these starfish on the shore, and the person was overwhelmed with all these starfish dying, and so they started to throw the starfish in, and they were saying, I don't know if this is making a difference. And then someone said, well, it made a difference for that one that you threw in, and that one. So yeah. Erica.
Just quickly to add on to that and the ripples, I heard somebody talk about there are a lot of movies about time travel, and people do tiny things that change everything about the future. And we never think about that in the present, right? So there's tiny things we could do that change everything about the future now. It's not just when we time travel. So anyway.
Okay, thank you, Erica. Yeah, what we do makes a difference. There is, it could be a little ripple, it could be a tidal wave, right? Martina.
Thank you so much for the talk. I think it was very, very inspiring because of you made that differentiation between a structured person who's structured of for being of service and having maybe fundraisers or action, and just the small thing of sharing hula. I think that's what I love, that giving, it reminded me that giving is not only about that's structured activities, which is important, but it's also about being present for someone in a way you can be present for them. And it was so inspirational, because sometimes it's very hard to find that way. It's, for me, it sometimes feels like, oh, I should be doing more, I should be doing this, and I forget about that little thing that I can give. It could be a conversation, a time, a smile. So that reminded me of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That reminded me also, I meant to say that Thich Nhat Hanh offers many things that you can be generous with. And the first is we can offer people our joy and our happiness and our love, yes. But two, let's see, the gift of our stability, that's also a gift of generosity. If you're stable in the midst of a cyclone, or, that helps. And then understanding, presence, just being so you can actually hear. Yeah, good. Thank you for that, Martina.
Roshi, thank you for the talk. It's just so many wonderful ways, and I feel like oftentimes we need reminders of all these different ways that we can be generous, so I so appreciate that. And I was going to say in my own life that how you just mentioned that stability of presence. I have a lot of middle schoolers who come into me 120 something a day, and remembering the peacemakers, just that bearing witness, just letting a child be heard, or having that stability of emotionality when others are feeling they're in the rocky waters of something in a day really does. I feel like it's a very tiny thing that maybe just a 20 or 30-second interaction, that eye contact and that pausing does make a difference for people. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so you just are, right? You're not thinking, oh, I'm stable, so I'm gonna help somebody, right? That's where that's the relative, and so you gotta include the absolute as part of that, right? So you just are. I know Yoda has a really good quote on that from Star Wars. What is it? There
is no try.
Do or do not, there is no try. All right, so we have got a little hula here for you to end with, and thank you. I have two of my hula students here, Yukiko and Anna. And we're gonna it's a welcoming song. So the Hawaiians were very gracious, generous, a lot of hospitality. So this song was written as a young man was drafted into the army, Larry Kimura, and he just remembered when he was at the beach that he saw a person who lived on the beach, and she was an older woman. She said, hi, who are you? They're so open, like, come over and have some food, have something to drink. And I have this mat you can relax and lay on. So it's like this call of aloha or greeting. That's what it's called, kahea a ke aloha. Oh, what happened to my phone? I have to get this. It's kahea, and then I'll try to translate as we're dancing. Kahea a ke aloha. Let's see. I think let's see. Connected. Okay, good. All right, that's good. Okay, what happened to it now? Oh, okay. The call of aloha, or like welcome. Okay, here we go. Okay, well, it's not good. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Calling to you. Ooh, come over and eat and sit a while and talk stories. It's the call of aloha. My aloha to you, visitor. How did you get here? How did you get from all the way over there to here? Answer the call of aloha. From my heart to yours. The soft voice saying, come. And you have to kiss the cheek, right? The greeting. This is Hawaiian. Answer the call of aloha. Wama'ona. All right, now we're gonna eat and relax. I have this beautiful mat. And the gentle breezes. So relax and feel that beautiful breeze. This is my story. Of the call. Hui! Come and sit and eat and talk stories. So that's how I feel this Zen Center is. It is a place of welcome and of generosity and open-heartedness. Whoever comes here, I hope will be happy. So thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Have a great week. We'll be in retreat, so I hope that energy emanates to all of you. So thank you.
Have a wonderful Sunday, everyone. Those of you who are here in person, please join us for kinship hour and fellowship in the community room. Have a great Sunday, Zoomers.
Huh? Yeah. Okay, good. That's good. Thank you.